There's two great things going on in this problem. One, you have parentheses, so we're working on order of operations, and two, we have some estimating things going on that you need to pay attention to when working with a computer. The computers don't think the way that we do, thinking very exactly the way that they've been programmed, and we often have discernment. So you're going to see something here in this estimation that I'm not going to like, you're not going to like. It probably is the reason that you've been struggling a bit with this. So parentheses, order of operations says we're going to start with parentheses PEMDAS. So we are going to work in those parentheses first. 1/4, I am going to round that to 0. We're going to add that to 4.5. I always like to round things up. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to round that up. Now I want to keep in mind here, I've already rounded up. So do you know what I'm going to do with the rest of them? If they get to 1/2, which they do, I'm also going to round that one up. I don't like to have a mixture. You don't like to mix together the first part of it I've rounded up and the second part I've rounded down. Actually, I need to correct my vocabulary. It's been a long time since I've kind of been in school here. These are estimates. It's my bad for using the word round. Round is not correct here. Rounding would be looking directly at which number it's closest to. An estimate here really is what I am seeing and feeling and thinking makes the numbers work. So I need to correct myself here. That is my bad. That's why we're doing this. We got to kind of get back together. Estimate here. All right. Next set of parentheses are going to look 1 and 1/6. That definitely is. I'm going to take that down, and this is 1/2. I'm going to take that 1/2, and I am going to go up because I went up the other time. So we're going to take this to 1, and that is going to end up being 5 times 0, which is going to equal 0. Now let me show you something here. This is going to upset you and me. 0 is not one of the choices. So here I am tempted to pick 1 because it's the closest to my estimate. But watchy. Checking answers doesn't hurt us. That's why we like Pearson here. So we get to check our answers. So this does not make sense. So I think what's going on here, let's take another page, shall we? And let's go to a new color, shall we? Why don't we go to color of dominance? That would be green. 'Cause I saw tiger, now I understand. 1/4, we are still going to keep that that's a quarter. I'm still going to keep that at 0. And we are still going to take that up to 5. I cannot see doing that any other way. And I think what we're going to do here, we're going to still keep this down, but I think what's happening here is that would get estimated down to 0. And we're going to end up with 5 times 1 is 5. And I'm going to tell you, I struggle with that, and I know you struggle with that too, because that doesn't make a lot of sense. As if we took that 1/2 and 4.5 and we rounded that thing up, it definitely is rough to think about why we would take the other 1/2 down. I mean, if we took that 4 down to 4, I can see why that would make sense. But you just got to be consistent. So it's one of those where we've kind of been able to figure out what's going on, and I like that about how we work. I like that about how we think. And my pride, I don't really care about missing things. I like figuring out what's going on. So we figured out what's going on. Let's get to the real work here. Estimates do help. In this case, it seems like more of a struggle, but trust me and hear me when we say estimates do help you make sure that you have the right place value and that your products are close. So why don't we just solve this thing and let's get on, shall we? Give me another page here. And let's just solve. It always feels good to solve. And this is going to take a lot of work. This is going to take you a lot of space here. So we are going to go with, we're adding. We got a mixture of operations here. If you remember how to kind of work these things. 1/4 and 4.5. I have a common denominator there of, I want to make that common denominator of 4. So that one's already there. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to switch colors, make sure that you can kind of see clearly here. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So 4 1/4 plus 4 2/4, we are going to end up with 4 3/4. That is our first piece. I'm going to go ahead and take another page, and I've got 4 3/4 as that first bracket. 4 3/4 times what's going on here. All right, since we are subtracting, I'm also going to look for a common denominator, which looks like it's going to be 6. All right, skip counting by 6s. 6 is the first one. I'm skip counting by 2. 2, 4, 6. I get there with a 3. So 1 1/6 minus, this is going to be times 3 and times 3. Bang! So we end up with 1. Oh, you ran away from me. That's a nice try. Nice try. It's getting hard. What do you work through? I'm good. I'm good. I'm feeling this thing. Now that we are, oh, we get to regroup. We get to do everything. That's a problem. We get to regroup now. I'm noticing here that I've got 3 in the numerator spot, and I've got 1 in the numerator spot here. I've got 3 in the numerator spot and 1 in the numerator spot here. So I cannot take 3 away from that 1. So I'm gonna move this whole into the numerator. A whole is worth 6 parts. So I'm gonna move 6 parts into that numerator spot. There's already 1 there, so I end up with 7 6 minus 3 6. And this is going to get me 4 6, which simplified would end up as 2/3. So what do we have before? We end up with 4 3/4. And now we're going to multiply that by 2/3. Woo, doggy. 4 3/4 times 2/3. All right. I like to take that mixed fraction and make that thing improper so I can just multiply. So a whole here is worth 4. I have 4 of them. So that's 16 times, oh, that's not, it's 4 times 4 is 16. There's already 3 there, so that's 19/4 times 2/3, which is going to be, what is 19 times 2? Is that 38? Doing that in my head. Oh, bam, it's 38. All right, and I can simplify this. I know my 12 facts, 12, 24, 36. So that is 3. There's 2 left over. 3 and 2/12. Both of those are even. That tells me I can chop them with 2. So 2 gets chopped 1 time, and 12 gets chopped 6 times. So I'm looking for 3 and 1 6. 3 and 1 6. It's been a long time to get to this spot. Check. Boom!
I am the greatest.
Feel good. Feel like a nap now. I'm ready to take a nap. I'm only supposed to do an hour math a week, and I feel like that problem just took us 25 minutes. Woo! I'm gonna go sleep.